Okay. Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a sunflower. It's part of our large flower series. I've got several of these, so if you want to check the other ones out, there's a little playlist up in the upper corner that you can check out after the show. I'll be showing you step by step how to do this one from start to finish. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's been in chat for our live show. So if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm using a 10 by 10 inch Fredrix canvas. It's a Pro Linen, I'm sorry, not linen, Pro Dixie, Cotton Dixie canvas. And I've coated it with yellow oxide to start with, just to give us a head start and a background for our flower. And I just picked the color because it's, you know, the most prominent color in our sunflower, to be a lot easier to fill it up with that as our background. My brushes that I'll be using are number 6 and number 4 Filbert from Princeton, 6100 series. The number 2, number 1, and number 2 Aught from that same series. And then the 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch angle and 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch Willow's blender. And then I've got a little bitty 1/8 inch Deerfoot stippler that I might use in the center. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the center part yet. I'm trying to decide if we need to fill in each individual little sunflower kernel or if we're just going to try to kind of fudge it. So we'll see how it goes today. But there's a couple different ways that we can do it. So I'll show you kind of a simplified version, and then we'll probably do it the harder way.
Hopefully it goes better than the start.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So, yeah. Anyhow, well, nobody watching knew about the start having problems until now. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There was no problems.
There was no problems. Okay. Thank you to Princeton and Fredrix, our canvas and brush sponsors, for providing our materials today. Go over our colors really quick. We've got Carbon Black, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, Quinacridone, Burnt Orange, Quinacridone Azo Gold, Nickel Azo Gold. Okay, so that's a new color. This is another new color. No, we've used this one before, Indian Yellow Hue. This is the other new color, Nickel Azo Gold. So this one's Quinacridone, Nickel Azo Gold, and this is Nickel Azo Yellow. I'm sorry. I'm getting these all wrong. Diarylide Yellow. Okay, let me just come back and start over. Quinacridone Burnt Orange, Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold. I need to read it. Indian Yellow Hue, Nickel Azo Yellow, and Diarylide Yellow. And then we've got Cadmium Yellow Medium, Cadmium Yellow Light, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Quinacridone Magenta, and Cadmium Red Light. Not sure if we're going to need that one, but I set it out just in case. And we've got our Unbleached Titanium and Titanium White. And if you do not have all these yellows, don't worry about it. I'm just going to kind of show you the difference between some of these yellows. Since we've got this project, we might as well kind of compare some of them and see what they look like. And then you can use whichever ones you've got that are similar. It's not going to matter. It doesn't have to be exact. Would you tell our son to stop yelling, hon?
Sure.
Thanks. He's in the other room. He's probably playing a game that he's not supposed to be playing too, so. Huh? I just heard him yelling, so I'm sure everybody else heard it too. Okay, well. Huh? Okay. All right. So before I do anything, I'm going to show you what I did to draw it using a watercolor pencil on my canvas here. You can do this drawing on paper and then just transfer it to canvas if you want. That's probably the easiest way if you're not like super familiar with drawing. Just get yourself some transfer paper and transfer your drawing onto tracing paper and then kind of position it where you want. And then I've got other videos that show how to do that. The feather drawing video is the one that I usually send people to. So if you're wanting to know how to use transfer paper, go to the feather, just look up feather drawing, Angela Anderson, and you'll find it. All right. So you're going to want to kind of find your center. This sunflower is a little bit off center. So we're not seeing a perfect circle in the center. It's just a little bit oval. So that's kind of where you want to start. And really this this center part is almost the same width as your petals. So you're really kind of breaking it up into 3 parts here across your canvas. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can kind of start by marking the center of your flower. It's going to have this kind of little cone shape that's going to radiate out, and then a little bit farther out there's going to be a ring of, I don't know what they are, little floral whatevers that comes around. And we're going to sort of start there, put in some of our dark colors, and kind of work our way out from the center. Then each of our petals are going to be coming in. They have a basic sort of tulip shape. Let me use a better thing here. There's something we did this week. Isn't that fun? That's the Princeton brush videos that we're doing for our, yeah, isn't that fun? Yeah, we're almost done with them. We've been doing brush videos for Princeton, showing how to use the different kinds of brushes. So that was the fan brush. We did a little project. We're doing like very, very short projects. And my $10 patrons are kind of getting to watch the behind the scenes videos. I figured I was going to be recording them anyways. Why not let somebody watch it, right? So watch me figure out how to use the brushes. We've had some fails, let me tell you. So some of them have not worked out all that well. We had to do some redos. But yeah, it's been fun. All right, so that's your basic shape. It's actually probably not quite as oval as I drew it there. And then, like I said, you've got this kind of cone shape in the middle here. And then our petals are going to be coming out from the center. There's going to be kind of basically 2 sort of long creases, and then the outside of the petal coming around those like this. And depending on how big you're drawing your flower, again, we're going to kind of want to come out to about right here. So you can mark that if you want to, just to give you kind of an idea of how big you need to make your petal. They come to a point, and it's widest down here. So your widest part is kind of right, almost like right in this middle area, and then it's going to taper down. And of course, it's attaching way down in here underneath all of this stuff that's going on. So you're not seeing the actual point of it. It's kind of breaking off right here. It's getting cut off right there. So, and then they're going to overlap just a little bit. The ones in between are going behind. So you're going to have these ones that are sort of your front petals that are going to get all the attention here. And they're going to be spaced apart fairly evenly, and they'll have these little V's here in between each one of them. Some of them are going to be closer than others, and because of the tilt, you're not going to see that space in every single one of them. They might be a little bit more crowded than others, but you can just kind of go through that reference photo and see. This is one of those that you really can't, you can, it's kind of nice with flowers because you can kind of, as long as you get these right, the shapes right, and the general fold of the flower petals right. Like some of these are going to be folding out this way along this side of the flower. They're going to be folding down, sort of. I'm not going to draw the whole thing, but you get the idea. These ones are kind of curving this way, and then they start to kind of even out right about here. And then these ones are sort of curving this way and coming out this way like this. I'm not doing these big enough, but you get the idea, hopefully. So, and then you're going to be putting in some of these in-between ones are not visible, like they're maybe are curled all the way back down and around here, so you're not going to actually see them. But some of the ones, like on this side especially, we're actually seeing most of that, those underneath ones, so we're going to have them tucked in between our petals, our main petals that are in the front. So you're going to see these little petals kind of peeking out around the sides. And then these ones are curving this way. And then we've got one that's kind of curving up this way. And another one kind of curving down this way. And right in here, we're going to have these little curve. So make sure you kind of narrow it right there where it is attaching. If you're seeing it, some of them, these ones behind, you're not going to see where it's attaching, but you're going to have these little creases in the flower petal where it's attaching. Okay, I'm going to call that good. Sorry. I'll have the traceable for the for it. So if you want to have the finished drawing to start with, just it'll look just like this when you transfer it onto your canvas. Then I have that available on Patreon. It's $1 a month for as many traceables as you want. So it's a pretty good deal, and help you if you don't like to draw and you just want to get to the fun part and paint, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Painting and drawing, two different disciplines. So you can paint without knowing how to draw. It helps. It definitely helps, and it's something that I would definitely suggest that if you're serious about art and improving your art, that you pursue both. But they're different disciplines. So I'm going to start with the burnt umber, and I'm adding that burnt orange, quinacridone burnt orange, and I'm just going to tap this in right in here, all in the center area, and kind of go right up to those petals that I drew. Top. So hope everybody's doing well, enjoying their weekend. Thanks for joining us today. We're living in chaos right now ourselves.
I took a quick shower just before the show started.
You did?
Yep.
Good for you. I still haven't yet. So.
Well, it's just because the hose burst.
Right. Oh, okay. I get it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're painting. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not following your joke yet. I'm not up to speed yet. Yes, Mark. We just before we started the show, we heard this, it actually kind of sounded like something fell or something, and like a little mini explosion or something. We're like, what in the heck? Something fell over in the garage, or who knows what. We're going through renovation in our house right now. We got 0 kitchen, 1 bathroom, and you've got to walk through a maze of disaster area to get to it. It's like bunch of equipment and broken down cabinets and things. So yeah, it's been an adventure. Yeah.
Everything's covered in dust.
So everything's covered in dust. Oh my gosh, it's been a little battle this week with the dust. Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well. So the hose burst outside. It was the water hose they left on outside burst. I'm just going to do just a little bit different tone for the inside here, just so that I know where that starts. I'm just using burnt sienna this time. I just want some really dark background back in here for our background of our flower. In fact, I'm going to get some green since that center part is green. I'm going to use green. Phthalo green. Yeah, I heard from Nathan's taking, or Spencer's taking art. Our son that's in high school is taking art for the first time since elementary school, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while, and in high school it's his senior year. And his art teacher said that they watched our White Horse video last year, and I thought to myself, I was like, I hope we're always pretty aware of like keeping things, PG in our shows, but it just makes me laugh to think, that these high school students are hearing about our, I'm gonna have to be careful what I say about Spencer. The shows, because like, Mom, stop telling them about me. I'm gonna embarrass him. So sorry, Spencer, if we've embarrassed you about something we said. There's no telling. I'm sure there's been things.
We'll have to use a different name for him now in the shows.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm gonna grab that page that I was using before there, and I'll go over some of these yellows with you and give you an idea of what we're going to go for here. So we've got this quinacridone gold, nickel azo quinacridone gold. I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong. Quinacridone nickel azo gold. So that's that color there. And I think that that's going to be the best color for like right in here, where it's getting like that really pretty gold color. Isn't that beautiful? And then there's the Quinacridone Burnt Orange. It's got much more reddish tones. So there's that next to it. You can see how much more of a red it is. And then here's our burnt sienna right underneath it. So it's much more of the brown. And I would say get yourself a notebook like this. This one's the Strathmore notebooks that I like to use, the visual journals, mixed media paper. And do yourself like a little, little color charts from time to time of these different colors. I actually have a really big one that I've created a long time ago with all of my colors all lined out so that I can quickly reference them and tell, kind of just the subtle differences between the different colors. And that's actually, I have a traceable for that chart in our Patreon traceables. So if you're interested in that, it's in there as well. But oops, let me go through here. So the Indian yellow would be kind of a transition hue between the two colors. And then this nickel Azo yellow is one, I don't use that often. It looks very dark over here. It looks kind of like a mustard yellow. But then when you get it watered down or use it as a glaze, it becomes this vivid, really bright, beautiful yellow. It's really interesting color. It goes from like this really dark, muddy looking yellow to this really brilliant yellow. And so I thought we would pull that one out. I'm thinking I'm just going to kind of use a lot of these different ones. Since we've got them, might as well use them, right? And like I said, if you don't have them, don't worry about it. Just use what you've got that's similar. You can try to mix what you've got, see what other colors you can create. This is Diarylide Yellow. I can never say that right. It's much more of an orange yellow. So you can see it's kind of similar to the Indian yellow, but it's opaque. So it would cover over other colors. And then this one's going to create kind of a glow if you use it. So and then you've got the Cadmium Yellow Medium, which is, of course, is just a really good, like, basic yellow right down the middle. It's a little bit more on the orange side of a yellow. And then we've got the Cadmium Yellow Light that's much more bright, vivid yellow. So it's more on the green side of the yellow scale. All right, so there's our different yellows that we're going to use, and I'll be just kind of using them all in conjunction to one another. So like if you don't have this one, you can use that. If you don't have this one, you can use the Cadmium Yellow Medium, maybe add a little bit of this to it or something. I don't know, this one is such a unique color. This one is such a unique color that, it might be hard to find one that's exactly the same. Probably your Cadmium Yellow Light is going to be closer in tone to it. And then you could darken it down with one of your other colors anyhow. So, all right, let's pull this back out here. And I'm going to start filling in. I'm going to use the Cadmium Yellow Light and some white. And I'm going to just kind of start adding that brighter color because it's going to take, this background color is fairly darker than we want some of these petals to end up. So I'm going to kind of work on some of these lighter petals to these ones in front first. And I'm just going to use this Filbert brush and kind of the edge of it and draw that outline of the petal. And the nice thing about these sunflowers is that they have all these streaks in their petals. So you don't have to do those really smooth blends that we've done in some of our other large flower series. All you have to do is kind of hold your brush on its edge. And I did a very simple version of a sunflower years ago on YouTube. So if you want to see that one, you can check it out. I didn't link to it. I should have, but just, look on Angela Anderson sunflower or something like that, and it'll pop up. I've done several sunflowers over the years, but this one we're going to do a little bit more detailed, take our time with it.
Like 4 hours worth?
Hopefully not. Mark's wanting to go get a new phone today, so.
Well, I don't know if that'll happen.
You don't know if that'll happen. At this rate, it's only 20 minutes in. We're already painting. We're doing good. So I'm just going to kind of fill these in, and then I'm going to come back through and add our other colors in here too. But I'm just going to start with this color to kind of set. It's already looking nice. And just by putting, this is one thing I always do with flowers, and I always encourage you to do when you're doing yours, is to find the vein of the flower and put your petals, your brush strokes on in the direction of the flower growth. And that way, if you've got any streaks, it'll make it look like you meant to do that. It'll be part of the actual look of the flower, and you won't have to go back in and try to cover over anything. So like I'm saying, you don't fill in your flower this way, because then you're going to end up with these lines going in the wrong direction. You're going to want them to go this way, because they're all pointing down into the center of the flower. Losing my voice today already. Yeah. So we had a really fun week. We've had several giveaways. So if you watched our Lighthouse video last week, we had a link to a giveaway entry thing. And this morning we picked our winners. So Mark's got the list of winners, and the winners should have gotten an email by now. So if you're one of my winners, you probably got an email already. I just sent them out. Had it scheduled for 2:15. So you already know, maybe, if you're checking your emails, if you're watching. But go ahead and go through that list if you want, hon, while I'm doing this.
Okay. So we'll just go top to bottom, I guess, in no particular order. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the prizes are.
Nope, they're 20 special grab bags from Princeton. Princeton agreed to send grab bags to our folks that won. So
nice.
They've decided. I don't even know what you're getting.
I don't see my name on here.
No, you didn't win. I thought it would be funny if you did, but I didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, I had to put my name in just to test to make sure that
that it was working.
That it was working. So that's good that I didn't win.
No.
Alrighty, here we go. So the first winner, in no particular order, is DB.
DB.
The second winner is Randy Haggett.
Congratulations.
And let me apologize right now if I completely butcher your name, but that's just the way it goes.
It's going to happen, so.
We have Kimberly Perman. I hope that's it. Then Barbara Joy. Cynthia Bozeman. Priscilla Baggett. Joy, Joi, and then there's a mark and the @ sign and RR. So I'm not sure who that is. Patricia Thacker, S. Carpenter, Judy Whaley, Kelly Miller, Sylvia Vaness, Connie Jose, 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 Constant St. Pierre, Marge Graham, Patricia Johnson, Laura Plombon.
What?
Plombon, Plombon.
Plumbon. Oh, okay.
Plumbon?
You said that fast. I couldn't understand.
Well, I said it fast because I was going to butcher it.
Okay. So he's just trying to
Yeah. Blah,
Okay.
blah, blah.
blubber.
Donna Parker, Tony Steinbaker, and Deborah Valladers. Valladers. Valladars.
Nice. Well, congratulations to everybody who won.
Yes.
Thank you to those who entered. You didn't win, but you'll be getting our newsletter. So there you go. Everybody's still a winner in a way. Maybe not, but you might not feel like it. But
Looks like Priscilla's watching.
woo, yay!
And she's
Congrats,
like, yeah.
Priscilla. So be sure when you get your grab bags that you post it somewhere on my social media pages like Facebook or somewhere and tag me, because I'm curious to see what you're going to get. I want to congratulate you when you get it. Cheer you on.
Yeah, definitely take pictures, post them in the Facebook groups,
Absolutely.
Instagram, tag,
Yeah, wherever.
Twitter.
You might get it entered into the newsletter. Who knows?
Oh,
We also have a section in our newsletter where we share special emails or special posts from people that we've gotten that week. So, plus I give my book and music recommendations, what I've been listening to or reading that week, and then also, of course, all the art news of things that we're doing and on our channel. But you get more than what I don't usually post that kind of stuff on social media, so it's kind of the behind the scenes stuff. You get kind of everything that we're doing all in one newsletter. So it's been fun. Brennan, our social media manager, has been helping me with those, and it's been really fun working with him on them, because I get to just kind of write it out and then he assembles it, so I don't have to do the hard stuff. It's a win-win. All right, so I'm going in here. I'm kind of adding. I'm seeing that there's kind of a central highlight too, right here. So going ahead and can I see what I'm doing, hon? Thanks. I don't know if you needed that, but I do.
Some lag.
You are. Do we know Spencer's not using his thing?
Well, it shouldn't matter. Keep going.
Okay. Is it glitching?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. It's not good. Okay, so I'm just trying to hit the brightest spots here. It's coming along pretty well actually already, just having that darker color underneath and adding those lighter highlights. It's really coming together pretty quickly here. It's nice. But you can see how as it dries, it's much darker. So we're going to need, several layers of this light color to get the brilliance that we want in our flowers. What are you doing? Okay, just keeping on going here. A lot of this is what?
Okay.
Okay. All right. And used a red because it's going to be a good color. It'll blend into our sunflower. Last week I used a black pencil on my horizon line when I did my lighthouse, and the black was mixing with my pinks and my sunset, and so it took a while to kind of get those blacks worked out of the colors. So I chose a little bit more carefully this week on my pencil that I drew with, so that it wouldn't cause any issues with my... The color dissolves when you're using a watercolor pencil, so it eventually kind of becomes part of the paint, and it will tint your paint just a little bit. But it's better than using pencil, regular graphite pencil, because what graphite pencil will just, if it's not water soluble graphite, it'll just bleed right through your paint. So you can even paint over the top of it and you'll still bleed through and you'll still see it. So if you don't want that to happen, you can use pencil or chalk or something that's water soluble that'll dissolve. Okay. Is he streaming on his phone?
Nope.
Okay. So this one's kind of curving this way and curving out this way. And I'm just using that edge of my brush. I want to get close to the end here. So I'm putting the brightest color right along that edge where I want it the darkest. And then as I get to where I want to lift it or I want it to fade in, I'm just kind of flicking it forward so that it fades into nothing. And that way it creates this kind of soft broken edge and not a solid line that I'll have to try to integrate later. Just makes it a little bit easier to blend into your lines when they're kind of softer back here. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Good. Good. I'm glad you were paying attention there.
Oh, well, of course I was. I
You
was
always pay attention.
hanging on every word you were saying.
While you were wandering around the studio.
Yes. Yes, you said something about painting and art stuff.
Check.
Brushes and strokes and colors.
Good. Good, good.
Hues, values.
I don't remember saying anything about values, but okay. I will,
Well,
probably.
Obviously you weren't listening to yourself.
Okay. That's good, I think. Pretty happy with that. All right, so then let's go ahead and get our next color down, which will be our cadmium medium. And I'm going to go kind of on top of this. Not quite to the edge. Keep it kind of right there in the middle area. We can bring this color down a little bit more. Seems so quiet in here.
I'm watching on my phone now
Are you?
until I know that everything's balanced out okay.
Okay. Still working okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So we're going to be
Trying
back to normal, huh?
fine. What?
I just say we're going to be back to normal on Tuesday.
We are. We're back to our normal schedule on Tuesday. It's going to be nice being back Tuesday nights. We're starting out with a really fun one. It's a horse silhouette. So it should be easy. We do easier ones on Tuesday nights usually. Try to keep them short so Mark can get dinner before he has to head to bed. Since he does have a full-time job, not counting this.
Not just his part-time job.
Right. Since he doesn't get paid for this one. To pay the bills somehow, right?
Yeah.
So. Anyhow, so I forgot to say this, but thank you to Princeton. I don't know if any of them were watching, but thank you to them for being very generous. They actually, I contacted them and said, hey, we've got our 200,000 subscriber thing coming up and we'd like to do a giveaway. Would you guys be interested? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, these are my favorite brushes, and they're like, well, how about if we had 20 winners since it's your 200,000? I was like, yes.
Yes, please.
Exactly. So super generous. It was great. Really awesome.
Super, super generous for all of our sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fredrix did a giveaway. We had 6 winners of canvases on Instagram, Facebook, and then we had a giveaway for our patrons on Patreon by the Brush Guys.
Nice.
So, yeah, so this is the official end to giveaway week. Hopefully everybody who's won knows by now. We've announced all the winners. Oh, it's fun. All right. Going through here and just adding a little bit of this brighter color in a few places. Try not to cover up all of my first color there. Just kind of looking to see where this sunflower has some bright yellow spots and put these in.
How's that?
Good, thank you.
You're looking hotter than normal.
Okay, thank you. Silly. I know you're lying because I haven't washed my hair in like 3 days. So. If by hotter you mean homeless, then yes, I look hotter than normal.
So you think guys fixate on the hair?
Okay.
Okay.
No comment. Oh my gosh. Oh, geez.
Back to the regularly scheduled show.
Not touching that.
I might need a fan over here. Maybe not.
Go away. Oh, Marky. I You can tell that that dust has been getting to my voice because I'm then having issues. It was coming through the walls. We had all the openings taped up, and it was seeping underneath the walls. They're grinding the kitchen tile off, you know, the mortar and stuff, because they're laying the flooring in there, and yeah, that dust was coming at us. It was like a zombie apocalypse. It was like brains. It was looking for us. Just every time we thought we'd blocked it off, it just found another little opening. It was coming through the fireplace. Like, we're like, is the flue? Oh, like, is it coming out? Like, I was like, close the flue. Somehow in my brain, I thought it was going out, out the outside of the house and down through the chimney. But obviously, it was just coming through the wall of the chimney. And, you know, it was just, yeah. I know, crazy. Renovation, not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Everybody warned us too. They were like, oh, I was like, really? It's not going to be that bad. We're going to be fine. This is going to be, you know, about 6 weeks. This is like what, week 5, and we are just starting on the second part. Yeah, so we're going to be in for it for a while still. All right. Oh, it's looking pretty. So we don't have any depth now. You know, you can see this is kind of probably, you know, what you would see. Well, with acrylics, you're really going to look worse before it looks better when you're layering, you know, like this, like we are. So we're not trying to make it look right on the first go. This is layer 2, actually 3 if you count the background. And we're got at least, you know, 2 or 3, probably 4 more layers to go before it'll start looking finished. So just kind of know as you're doing this process that it's going to, you know, kind of take a while for it to take shape and look right. But this one's actually kind of already sort of looking nice. It's just obviously missing any depth at all because it's super flat. So we'll start adding in some depth here. I'm going to clean this brush out really good. I don't think I'm going to need that number 6 Filbert. You might need it if it was a larger canvas, but this one is small enough that this number 4 one was pretty good enough. So I'll put that away. And I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch. Let me see. We can start with the 3/8 inch. We'll probably switch to the 1/4 inch though. But we'll use this we'll start in filling in some of these darker areas here. So I'm going to get that Quinacridone burnt orange. And I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go really dark in here on some of these in-between petals. I'm going to wipe my brush off. And just brush some of that in. See, I put my color down and then I kind of just wiped through it. And I can use glazing liquid too if it helps you. We'll be adding more layers, so this doesn't have to look perfect. So as you're doing this, if it's looking a little bit rough, that's okay.
So what is the background color for those who joined late?
Yellow Oxide. So this is just glazing liquid. I'm just going to go around and just add this all the way around. Most of these are going to have some of it. Not all. These ones in here are not as dark. So there's just a little bit of it, like right in here. and like in between.
So if anybody needs any help with their renovations at their place, don't ask us,
Yeah, no.
because we're pretty much a box short of everything.
We're a box short of every single thing that we've ordered. One box,
So it's like
2 boxes.
the fireplace was almost done for a few days.
Yeah.
And then the one bathroom is still not done.
No.
The
Yeah.
laundry room is
The
floor
one bathroom
was,
had one box that they told me to order, and then it ended up they needed 2 boxes, so that got delayed another like week, because the second box for some reason took another full week to get in, even though I ordered it on the same day. It's just like,
So Chip, Joanna,
yeah,
you can rest easy.
no,
We
we're
will-
not any competition there.
Yeah, we won't be taking over.
No, obviously I don't know how to order anything, and we're worried about the floor now, the hardwood floor, because I have a feeling since everything else was short a box, that hardwood floor is probably not.
So are you using an angle brush right now?
Uh-huh.
1/2 inch? 3/8?
3/8
3/8 of what? An inch?
inch. Don't be like that. Don't even.
Units matter. Hey, they smashed a space probe into Mars a while back, several years, because their units were in feet rather than meters or vice versa.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah. So they kind of miscalculated a little bit.
Sounds like something I would do.
So there's your engineering advice for the day. Units matter.
Okay. Thank you.
It's this kind of stuff people don't get on other art channels.
No, they don't. They're like, well, did we need to know this? I don't think so, but thank you for offering that, Mark. That's why I get comments all the time about, like, who is that dude talking to you in the background? It's really distracting.
Can you do away with him?
Yeah. Can you do away with him? And then I get other comments that are really sweet that say, don't do away with Mark. We like him. So you have your fans. You do have your, I'm not planning on doing away with you anytime soon. But you keep it up, and who knows? I don't know. You've been on a roll today, so. It's like you're working towards it.
Well, I got to get Tuesday's shows on Saturdays also. So
You're saving up all your jokes because you haven't had another outlet. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. Sorry, I had to get some water there.
Yeah, it's this house is dusty. All right. So just going back in here and making sure I have nice dark transitions here, little dark pockets. It's the dark and the light contrast that's really going to make a difference. So you really don't be afraid of going really dark here. Some of these areas. You can always lighten it up. It's not, it's not set in stone, but it definitely needs to be dark. We should get it just about the same darkness as this. Eventually I'm kind of building it up slowly since we're kind of pulling that color out into other areas, but we'll definitely come back here and add even more darkness to some of these. I didn't want to cover up all my nice yellow that we've already put on. Mm-mm-mm. ask me to help you with. With your renovation ideas, because I'm obviously crap at it. Okay. So just kind of looking now to see where these overlap. I'm just going to put kind of like a shadow there to outline some of these petals so that I kind of know where they're at. I don't want it to be super obvious. I don't want like a, major outline, but it'll help to kind of differentiate these petals from one from another, to have a little bit of that, especially when we're doing so many layers. You can start to lose your lines, so just kind of go back through here and separate out some of these petals if you're getting confused as to where they are going. Then you can always go back in and add your lines back in, if you do, a few layers and then you're like, I really can't tell what's what anymore. You can always go back in and do another layer of your traceable tracing on top to kind of add those layers back in. Okay, so we've gone all the way around now. I'm using glazing liquid here. It's just going to give my paint a little bit more transparency. It's blending a little bit easier.
So they would like to know,
Yes.
did you make all your own design decisions for the house renovation, or did you have somebody help you?
I did have somebody help me. Well, what I did was I did Pinterest boards and actually, if you want to see our Pinterest board, you can go to my Pinterest page. I've got a home renovation Pinterest board on there. But you can see some of the ideas that I had for different things. But then I had my friend come, and she does house flipping. So she's had a lot of experience with it. And I consulted her first, and she's the way I found the contractor that we're using. So we're using her contractor, and then I just kind of consulted her on different things, and she told me kind of what she does on her houses. And then when I narrowed down my flooring to like 5 choices or whatever, my favorite 5, then I had her come in and tell me what her opinion was on them. So it's been that kind of thing, where and I did the same thing with the tile. I was like, I like these tiles. What do you think? And then she told me her opinion on them. So she helped me kind of decide which ones to get, which is super helpful just to have a second opinion, because Mark is Mr. Yeah, that looks good. So he's super easy to get along with. He doesn't have really strong opinions about any of this stuff, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to plan.
I figured the camouflage tile wasn't going to go over well.
Right.
She wasn't going to say yes to that, so I might as well not even suggest
whatever.
it.
I don't care after that, if I can't have what I want.
Yeah.
No. Mark's nice because I don't have to worry about. We definitely don't fight over house stuff. Mark's like, yeah, that looks nice.
I will say, yesterday I was in the middle of talking with somebody, and I get a text from Angela, so I check it out, and it's a picture of our fireplace, and I'm looking at it, and it's almost like one of those hidden object things. It's like, what am I supposed to be noticing here?
This looks pretty much like it did when I left today. So what is different?
Yeah.
It was finished.
Yeah, they put the little black thingies underneath the wood.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they finished at the top too. They got the tile, the last box in. Okay, I'm making a mess of this now. Over here, I don't know what I'm doing right here. I'm listening to you and not doing a very good job here. I'm gonna take some of that off. Just with water. While it's still wet, water will just kind of pull that paint right off. There we go. I don't know why I was pulling it way back up there. Yeah, so yeah, that's my life right now, Mark. Mark is not fully participating in this process, to say. Which doesn't surprise me because we built 2 other houses together, so I'm not expecting a lot. I knew what I was in for going into this.
Hey, all I have to say is after 17 years, when we built this house, I wanted white walls. Mm-hmm. And now, because somebody else has said it, we got white walls. Just saying.
You finally got your white walls there, honey. Mm-hmm. You had 17 years of colored walls, and now you have the white ones that you wanted.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Now I want colored walls.
Now you want colored walls. I miss my colored walls, but it's, yeah. So. All right. So I'm just going back between burnt sienna, burnt umber and quinacridone burnt orange here. And I already did the layer quinacridone burnt orange. Now I'm going back in with pretty much just with the burnt umber here and just really darkening up some of these areas where I see like a really strong shadow in here. And by trying to get it to kind of fade out a little bit. And if it doesn't, that's fine. We're going to put more colors over the top. So I'm just kind of trying to do my best to make it easy to layer over the top of these, because the more smooth I get it now, the easier it'll be to layer later. So just doing this. Yeah, nobody cares about the... Actually, I've been posting it on Facebook too, so if anybody wants to see the fireplace, it's on Facebook. Look me up. Yep.
So, should I start braiding my beard?
I think you should. I think you could do the Viking thing pretty easily now. I think you should just save it for Halloween, and we'll just do a Viking.
Okay.
Themed Halloween this year. You got that going on there. Okay. Right here, and get these behind these petals that are underneath. Get a little bit of love too. They're not really this color, but I'm going to put just a little bit of it on there for now, and then we'll put some other colors on there later. But now we got some depth in there. It's going to be much better. Let's let that set and dry really good. So we'll work on the center of our flower. And I'm going to go ahead and use this little bitty brush, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to grab some of the And I want to spray my paints down so I keep them moist. Grab some unbleached titanium in my green here. Phthalo green yellow shade. And it's not quite the color I want it to be, so I'm going to add a little bit of, let's see. Oh, you know what I didn't add was my yellow oxide. I forgot to put down yellow oxide, which I need for this. Where's my yellow oxide? Oh. It's because I used up all the last of it for the background, so I got a brand new big one.
Oh, sweet.
So yellow oxide added there. And ochre, if you don't have oxide, ochre's close enough to the same. Oxide's just a manufactured version of ochre. And that's pretty close, so I think it's the yellow oxide that I want with that phthalo green and the unbleached titanium. Let's get a little bit of that bright. And I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes here. I'm going to start in the center. Just going to work my way around. And if it doesn't show up, we can add a little bit of more of that unbleached titanium. It's opaque. And I feel like it might be a little bit low. I'm going to go a little higher with this. I think it's a little bit farther up. Use burnt umber with it, with the green here. I'm going to use it down here. Okay. The angle's a little shallow, isn't it? On the side cam there, it needs to be a little bit more over the top. Maybe, maybe not.
That won't be on the side.
Okay, so my direction, I need to kind of figure out the direction of these. They're going, these ones are going kind of this way and overlapping each other and doing this kind of spiral thing down here. So they're, I don't know an easy way of doing this. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to make this not so tedious. Well, because there's so many of them, you know. You do want to really paint all of these in individually.
So why did you decide to go with the yellow oxide background and not like green or something like that?
Just because it was the main color of our flower. I mean, you know, the yellow oxide is just gonna look good with our flower, so.
So are you planning to paint around the edges later?
Yeah. Okay, so this is not the final. I'm just kind of trying to figure out my direction here. So these are spiraling off this way. These are spiraling off that way. And then here in the middle, they kind of just do a line. So at some point they kind of stop spiraling and they just sort of do a line in here. Like that. This is not looking all that good right now. I understand that. So I'm working this out. That's the fun thing about working on these live, is that there's no practice. It's just seeing how this works. You're seeing the process that I go through trying to figure out, how I want to paint something. Sometimes it's helpful, hopefully. And then these are coming in from this direction too, so they're kind of just overlapping in the middle here. Okay, so that's kind of our basic flow of the seeds. And if you really want to simplify it, I think you could just take your, use this burnt umber in the center like we've got, right? And we've got a little bit of this burnt sienna with it too. And you could use a brush like your Deerfoot stippler and just take some of this green, this light green, and just stipple around. And then add some of your orange-ish color, some of that gold around the outside. You need some white to make it show up against that dark color. And then in your brighter outside area, you can kind of use the gold and burnt sienna or something like that. And this is how I've done it before with sunflowers. Then I want to keep pretty simple. And just let it dry really well, and then you come back in with the brighter yellow over the top around the outside edge. Like that. So, or something, thereabouts. Maybe a little bit of bright orange, bright green in the center there. Working its way out. So, it's a little bit more abstracted. Yeah, more stipply. And this one, I'm going to use the gold and a little bit of the Indian yellow, and I'm going to add some white to it to brighten it up, make it more opaque, because these two colors are both transparent. And I'm going to go a little bit brighter than I think I need, and then we'll glaze over the top. So I'm just going to dab in lines, and pretty close together. There's not a whole lot of that dark showing between them. See how I'm doing? Using that tip of the brush, I'm pressing the tip and kind of pulling up almost. Really, I'm just kind of tapping. It's creating that shape that I want. And as I get towards the center, I'm not pressing down as hard. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the top of this outer border just a little bit, because these are kind of tucked right up next to it. So I don't want it to have a gap right there. This is actually looking pretty decent. I'm happy with this. So just keep doing this. And having these guidelines are helping too. So I kind of know where to aim for, you know, with my dabs. And in the center here, what I'll do is just glaze over the top of these with some green, and hopefully that'll, or I can go over the top of them with a little bit of green if I need to. But I'm loading my brush up pretty thick with paint. Clean that out because it was getting a little sloppy, but I'm really scooping up a pretty good amount of paint on my brush. It's loaded fairly thickly, and that way when I dab it, it's kind of creating this kind of blob effect that I'm wanting. And they're not all going to be perfect. If you want to, you know, you can take your time, a little bit more time than I'm doing here, and really do them all, you know, very carefully. And I'm just going to kind of try to get it as close as I can for the sake of time. Going fairly quickly here with it. You'll get the same effect. You'll, every now and then, you know, it just, your brain will kind of fill in the gaps. If that makes sense, I don't know. But I find with painting, you know, it's especially this kind of painting, you don't have to like be super precise with it. Sometimes you can kind of just get it close, get the suggestion going of the right shape, and it'll work. Find that if I'm pointing the tip towards where I want the point to be, it's working out a little bit better. So
That's a good tip about points.
what?
To point where you want the tip to be.
Mm-hmm. Where you want
Just-
the pointy end to be.
Just going to say that was a good tip about points.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much in general, that works for everything. Is that what you're saying? It's kind of just a rule of thumb.
Well, use the point the tip is a good tip point.
Okay. Yeah.
I've confused myself now.
I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but
Me
thank you.
either.
Thank you.
It made sense in my brain at some
Okay.
point.
I appreciate the vote of confidence there, hon. All right, I'm just going to kind of tap in. We've already got this color out here, but I'm just going to tap in some of this Quinacridone burnt orange with the tip. Here, these ones along the ends are starting to bloom open. These are actually the flower, right? Is that what I'm...
Yes.
These little, each little piece, each little one of these little seeds is a flower, right? What is this part? It's not the flower? But I don't know either. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we'll let that dry really good, and then we'll glaze it, and hopefully, we'll hope for the best. I think it'll work out, hopefully. I'm going to add some of this darker to this, because it's kind of dark underneath there. There we go. All right, it's not bad. It's got that kind of feel. We got the swirly thing going on. And I think when we add a few little highlights and add some shadowing, it should hopefully take on the characteristics we're wanting. So while I've got this green out, I'm going to go ahead and work on this leaf that's peeking out right here. There's just a little baby leaf right here, and you can make it bigger if you want. Or add more leaves. They've got
Okay.
what?
So it looks like the inside is disc flowerets.
Yeah.
and the outside is ray flowerets.
Ooh. Fancy. Getting the burnt, or the light ultramarine. Light, I do that every time. I call it light ultramarine. It's the, I don't know why. It's like my brain stored it wrong in there, and I do it every time. Burnt light, what is it? Unbleached titanium. Thank you. Oh my gosh. What is wrong?
So
My art brain has stored that wrong. It's like I can't delete the file.
So as we get older, we're going to have to put big signs next to everything.
I think so.
Paintbrush. Monitor. Husband.
It's not. It's sad, but it's not that far away, is it? I keep. Oh my gosh. When I get going like this, it's like my brain just shuts down. Okay, so using some white here. It's got that white fuzzy along the edges, so it's kind of got that little bit of white feeling. I'm going to wipe my brush off here and just kind of where those two are meeting right there. I just want to smooth that out, so I'm going to pull some of that dark green into that white, and poof, it's just going to kind of all fade together. Looks good. That does look like a little teeny tiny wimpy leaf, doesn't it? We really kind of need a bigger one there. If we're going to put a leaf at all, I mean, we probably need that big old green one, but it is going off here. I guess I could put it right here. Let's go ahead and do that. I don't know. I'm going to probably regret this because it's super blurry in my picture, so I don't have any detail at all to add to it. Actually, I'm not going to. I'm just going to, you can make a bigger leaf if you want to. I'm going to leave mine because I don't want to be here till 5 working on that leaf. All right. Mark's like, thank you.
Well.
What?
I need to turn my mic on. There, we used Bite Squad last week because of the 4-hour and 45-minute show. Worked out well.
It did. Yeah, we didn't plan for that show to go as long as it did.
So there's a morning talk show I listen to on the way to work. It's ESPN, and
Here, let me tell them what color I'm using here. Indian yellow and white. Go.
and they turn their mics off when they're not talking, and so when they go to talk, they would get to turn their mic on.
Uh-huh.
The guys at the control booth play this audio sounder, turn your mic on. You are a professional.
Uh-huh.
So I might need that now.
It's just like a little bloop thing.
Yeah, just like a
plays
sounder. Yeah.
Sound tape. Okay. Yeah, you might need that. You don't know how the audio got messed up from last week. Because I was I wonder if it's because I was recording those spot shot commercial ad things. And on that other program, it may have. I mean, I don't know. That's my only guess. It's something different that I haven't done, before. So it's been fun. All right. Let me see here. Let me just try the Indian yellow without diluting it with white. I just feel like that white was kind of just doubling everything down. Didn't like it very much. But we are going to need to add some of those lighter colors back in. So there's that Indian yellow. It's that kind of more brighter gold. You can see where we've done it, where we haven't done it. So we're kind of adding this kind of more golden tone in here.
So we've had another one of our Princeton giveaway winners join us.
Yay.
Miss Sylvia.
Congratulations. That's good. I'm glad it's not just random folks winning. I was hoping it was going to be people who actually watched the show regularly, you know, that won.
So random.
Hmm?
It's so random.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, there are people that just kind of troll YouTube for giveaways.
That's true.
Enter them.
Last week we had over 400 some on watching. And we're not near those numbers this week.
Really?
So you must not be giving away anything.
Oh, what are we at today?
The peak was 292.
Oh, wow. Where is everybody?
You're not giving away free stuff. It's like,
Wow.
you gotta buy their views.
Okay. Everybody's enjoying their Labor Day weekend is what's happening.
Ah, yes. Especially
Yes,
those in
they're
Sweden.
Probably all going out doing stuff. Yeah, I thought the sunflower would get a lot of people watching because I've been asked several times to do one of these for my large flower series. But I have done other sunflowers, so maybe they're like, they've seen it. Okay. That's better. So I'm just going back in with my original two colors there, the cadmium yellow medium and cadmium yellow light, and just kind of adding back in some little bright spots here and there. That's what I want to see right there. It's that good transition between that dark and really light. That's what gives it depth. Getting some of the quinacridone gold. Add that in here. That's the color that we used in the center here. I don't think we used it on our petals much. So I think we were using the burnt orange.
Apparently there's also a hurricane.
Oh, well, that could happen. Yeah, that could have something to do with it.
Seriously, come on.
People are more concerned with
their
surviving
in their house.
Mm-hmm. Check. Got it. Maybe don't have any way to watch. So we lost all of Florida, is what you're saying. There's got to be at least 10 people watching from Florida every week, surely. So that's 10 down. How many? Now where's everybody else? Okay.
Hey, we got all the unusual suspects.
Good.
So that's
Good.
what matters.
That's all that matters.
The faithful that have been here for years and years.
It's amazing.
And years. All these friends.
Y'all are awesome. I was going through the chat the other night, just kind of to see, because I missed out on the chat, and just seeing the kind of conversations you guys have. It's pretty fun.
We got a couple people watching from Florida.
Oh, all right.
Ain't no hurricane gonna keep them away.
They're tired. Okay. It's a flesh wound. Alright, so just going back in through here and adding, I don't know why I have this line right there because there's no line in here. So I'm gonna take that out. So this petal actually kind of goes over the top of this other one here. This one goes right over the top. But there is kind of like a shadow there where they overlap. In that little section right there. I'm using the nickel Azo Yellow now, just to add yet another color in here. I'm seeing some of these are look like there's some sunlight kind of coming through, so I'm going to get some really bright yellow with the white, and I'm going to pop some of that in. So like this one where these two overlap, there's like right up to that, and so I'm going to kind of figure out where this petal would be going and come around it. Like that. Create a little shadowed area on that. I don't know if that's working, but let's see.
So we're kind of having a hurricane paint party.
Oh yeah. People are watching even in the hurricane.
Yeah, there's
awesome.
at least half dozen or so.
Nice. Well, hope you guys just staying safe.
Exactly. Most importantly, stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Batten down the hatches.
Are you a pirate now?
Shiver the timbers.
Okay. Just wondering.
Don't hoist the mainsail. Because as we learned from me leaving my
Okay, I'm gonna go like that. What?
my lawn furniture umbrella open,
Oh gosh.
that doesn't do good for the glass tops.
No.
That shattered into like 10 billion pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The back porch furniture went bye-bye.
So I'm thinking in a hurricane, your paint dry time is going to be a little bit longer. So
Longer, because it's more humid.
yeah,
Got it. Check. I'm following you now. Sorry, it took me a second.
maybe if everybody turned on their dehumidifiers, it'd help lessen the hurricane.
All right, I am grabbing some of that shadow color because I covered up all of my shadow color here on this one. Trying to correct that little spot that I fixed right there. Okay. And it's getting sticky, so I need to kind of just stop, let that dry, and we can keep messing with it later. Let's use some of this Diarylide Yellow. It's opaque, so it'll kind of cover really well. And so this one's got just kind of a center line that's coming down here. And then right next to it is this petal here. It's kind of coming up like that. So we need to shadow right there between those two. And I'm going to get a little bit of blue. It'll create that kind of a green color, a little bit of the ultramarine blue, and I'm going to just use that as my shadow right here.
We got a color question in a moment.
Go for it.
They would like to know, why do you never use sap green for the foliage?
Sap green is basically phthalo green plus burnt umber. I think if you look at the tube, it's a mixed color, so it's not a color that's I try to use only colors that are non-mixable, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes I'll use a color that I'm trying to find it so I can tell you what's in it. Yeah. Is that sap green? No, that's okay. There it goes. So sap green is synthetic iron black and phthalo oxide. I don't know. Anyhow, basically you can get a color very similar to it with burnt umber, and I'll show you.
So what were you holding the paper towels for there?
I was just getting them out of the way. They were in my
Okay.
way. There's sap green. Which is a really lovely green. I really probably should use it. I have used it a few times, but then you can use phthalo green with burnt umber. And a little bit of yellow, it said, right? So a little bit of like cadmium yellow maybe. There we go. Similar enough. It's a little bit darker, so I would go for a darker color because you can always lighten it easily, you know, too. So I add a little bit of white to it. It needs a little bit of yellow. So there we go. We're almost there. So you see, I don't know. I feel like I can get so many different versions of that. Phthalo green is in this already, so might as well start with phthalo green, and then I can mix other colors into it and get all kinds of different versions of greens instead of just, you know, being stuck with that one. But it is a lovely color in it, and I did use it a lot in landscapes before I started doing the videos. But with the videos, I very rarely will I kind of pull out all of my other colors like I do today, just because people freak out when I add new colors. So I try to have a basic palette that I use every single week so that I'm not having a ton of colors for people to have to buy. Yeah, so that's a lot of the reason, is just because it's a little bit easier. All right, so I'm going to switch to this brush. I feel like I can get a little bit better what I'm trying to get here, because it's going to feel like it's fighting me, and I think my yellows are kind of drying out a little bit. So let's get a little bit of that. I'm going to get a little bit of the green. Actually, a little bit of blue, I meant. Or ultramarine blue. It'll turn it green. And there's not a lot of this, so I want to use it very sparingly. But there is a little bit of this in some of our shadow areas. So I'm going to find some of these shadows and just add a little bit of this green here. And I'm going to use some of this glazing liquid to make it go on a little smoother. And so like in here, back in here where we've got some of these petals peeking out from behind. I started with the Azo Yellow and added a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue to it. Creating really nice green for us. Get some of that quinacridone burnt orange. Add some of that in. And then right along that edge, I'm going to get some of this cadmium yellow light. Right along that edge is just like a bright highlight that brings it in. This will give me those streaks that I'm looking for. It'll still blend a little bit, but that can kind of control the size of the streaks a little bit easier with this brush. And then I'm not going to worry about the brightness over here. I'm going to just add a little glazing here. So I'm going to go through here and kind of just add some brighter highlights to where some of these petals come down in. And then we'll top them off with some glaze to tone them down where needed. Okay, so I'm concentrating a lot on this upper. I need to work on some of this down here too. Get some of this cadmium yellow light with the white. That green, doing that green down the middle. Oh, we got the sap green out. We might as well use it, right? Let's just add some of that yellow to it. Why not? I'll add it to my list. People are like, what is she doing? But I showed you how to mix it, so. I can't tell where this petal is. I think it's in here somewhere. I think I lost the start of it somewhere. This petal's got a lot of the green shadowing through here.
At the beginning, did you suggest any substitutions for the yellows?
Yes, I did. Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, basically you can just use what you've got that's similar. It doesn't have to be, what we used, obviously. Sorry, I'm having to think here. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out where to put this. it's going to look way too much right now, but we'll tone it down. Well, yeah, I showed it here. So the Cadmium Yellow Light is similar to the Nickel Azo Yellow. The Indian Yellow is similar to the Diarylide. So we've used this one before. And the Cadmium Yellow Medium. I'm trying to think if you can mix this one. I can't remember if you can or not, the Indian Yellow or not. This is the Quinacridone Gold, which is similar to this one as well. They're all kind of, these three are all kind of your gold yellows. So if you have anything similar to that, or you can add a little bit of maybe like cadmium orange into your cadmium yellow to get something, you know, closer to this. And then of course the Quinacridone burnt orange that we've used before, that is similar to like a burnt sienna plus a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta and maybe a little cadmium yellow light. So, all right. Okay. So yeah, speaking of those two, let's go ahead and use a little bit of those. I'm going to use a little bit in the centers of the flower here. And mix the two together. And then I'm going to use kind of the glazing liquid. I'm just going to kind of glaze along that outer area here. Add a little bit of pink tone. And then we can add a little bit of it to our petals too. And then if we go over the top of that green, it will tone the green down too. A little bit. Because that, see when they go over the top of each other. Oh, okay. They neutralize each other a little bit. Red and green up being opposite on the color wheel. So we're a little bit in the, you know, we kind of made it uglier, I think, putting the green in, but I think we'll be glad we did. We just needed a little touch of that green. We needed some darker. We needed to introduce another color because it was just too much yellow everywhere. So this green will kind of help with that, and we'll use this red to sort of tone it down a little bit. Is that rain? What is that?
It's Spencer coming in to get some water. For a gallon.
Hi, Spence.
Hello.
Oh, it's just the noise from outside. That's funny. All right, so let's get our main yellows here, the Cadmium Yellow Medium, Cadmium. And you can see when I add that kind of magenta to it, it's going ahead and making it closer to those gold yellows. So I think that that's probably your best bet to get some of those colors if you don't have them, is you just use what colors you have. You use your reds, use your oranges, use your yellows, and just mix a few of them together and see what colors you can get out of them, and you know, see if you can get something close to what we're doing here. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm using. We're mainly just showing you kind of the techniques, and you can take it and make it your own. Although I understand, I used to be like a stickler for, I'm a very like rules oriented person just in general. Mark can attest to that. Like making the macaroni and cheese by measuring the water kind of person. Used to be, not as much anymore, but so I totally get it when you're like, you know, well, if she's using that color, I need to use it too, you know. That's why I try not to introduce new colors, because I totally understand that impulse. That's how I am. If you got a new color, I want it, you know. So if you're using it, I want to use it. So, but this is just a way to kind of show you some different ones and what they do and how they look, and different tones. And you know, every now and then we got to pull out all the colors in the color box. Use some of the ones we don't use before. Okay, I'm really liking what's going on in here. See how that green just kind of pulls out the yellows and the other colors? It's really weird how that works, but I think it's that contrast, you know, obviously between that green and that red. And your eye is probably not even going to see that green. Like if you look at it from a distance and you didn't know it was there, it would be, you know, one of the colors that you might not see right away. But we know it's there, and it's working. It's working for us, creating all this good contrast and stuff. So yeah, I don't know what we're talking about before that. Oh, the mixing the colors, yeah. So I'm going to use some of this gold here. Get some of this gold, pull it up into our shadow area between these two colors. And like in here, I feel like I've, you know, got no dark part left. So what I might do is just get another brush here. So I probably need to be working with two brushes anyways. One with my dark colors and one with my brighter colors. And that way I'm not gonna, or one with my, you know, oranges and reds and one with my yellows, so that I don't lose all these dark bits here. So just going back in and adding those back in. What are you laughing at?
I just like how you point. When you're going over to get some paint, you like kind of point to somewhere on your
I do.
thing with your left hand while you're going over. It's like, this is where I was.
I do that actually.
Come back here.
Yeah, no, I do. I do that on purpose. Yeah, I totally do that. And I do that when I'm looking at my reference photo for 100% sure. So like when I'm going around, like I'll do this and I'll leave my hand there as I'm working on that petal, and it really helps keep your place. So yeah, it does. Because something like this, especially with so many petals and everything. So here's this one, and it's right here. And so I can go in here and go, okay, that's where that is. And then this one's right here. This right here is coming down there. And then this one's coming around. See, where is that? Okay, it's right here. Coming almost straight.
Too bad you don't paint with your left hand.
I know, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? I could just be like, boom, boom.
No, you didn't have to cross over.
Well, no,
While
I'd
you
just be
were,
like,
you had your
doing
picture.
like this, and I'd be like,
Oh, what kind of wizardry are you
like,
doing now?
you know, like, I don't have any paint on it right now. Wouldn't that be awesome? Just like, beep, psh, psh, like knitting. Like, what is she doing? It's a superpower. Paint with both hands at the same time. Well, people playing the piano do it. Guitarists do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't be that hard, right? Why not?
Yeah, why aren't you doing that?
I don't know. It's not. Why isn't that not a thing? I don't get it. We really should step it up in the art community. The musicians have us beat big time with the manual dexterity game.
Try your foot.
No. Jeez. No. You. I can't seem to get away from this. going back to it. Okay, stop. Stop painting up here. Okay. Yeah, we need a lot of work over here. How long have we been doing this? 2 hours?
A few years.
Okay.
Oh, just a show. Yeah, 2 hours.
Okay.
Minus a few minutes.
True. I'm gonna have to go and edit that out.
Man,
Remind me to do that.
and you know, we gave away $1 million in the first try, but it just didn't work. So
Oh. Okay.
they didn't hear their name. They didn't call.
Mm-hmm. Mark Anderson.
What?
Nothing.
That may or may not be true. Mostly not true.
Not.
We might try to do that. You know, $1 a year for the next million years. Non-transferable. That's how I would probably win it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, adding some of the quinacridone gold here with my glazing liquid. I'm done with this conversation.
Mona
Did
said,
you notice?
Mona said, "Uh-oh, you're in trouble." She said your full name.
Did I really?
Yeah.
She knows as well. She's like,
Just you wait till we stop streaming.
she's had enough. She's had enough, Mark Anderson. Back off. Thank you, Mona. Okay, so this guy here needs some help. He's got a big old shadow there, but it doesn't have much form yet. So kind of go around both sides of it and shape it out a little bit. I'm going to use my glazing liquid. I'm just going to go over the top of it a little bit, right along that transition. Going to soften it up a little bit. There, and then this thing goes all the way down into here. And this is this thing that goes up behind. There's a little dealie right there. Getting there. So where we've got these areas here like this where you've got, you know, your line kind of coming to abrupt end, here we can use the darker color to kind of glaze over and just kind of soften up that start. So yeah, that does kind of just softens that whole thing out, rounds it out a little bit, makes it a little bit smoother. All right, so I can't tell what's happening with these different petals here, so I'm going to just go ahead and go back in here. And it's like that on our reference photo, but you know, I just kind of want for myself to have a little bit of visual definition. So I'm just going to kind of come back through there and add a little bit of a shadow on this petal as it goes all the way up. And that way we know, okay, that one's that petal. And then we'll do the same thing with this one, but I'm going to do it with the lighter color. And I go, okay, this is this petal coming down here, and they're different. Same thing here, just going to brighten up that edge where it comes around, overlaps. Just do it on all these that overlap one another. Just the ones that are on top. I'll just pop those petals forward a little bit, give them a little bit more definition. And then the ones that we want to go in shadow, we can grab just a little bit darker yellow and just kind of come around the side with it and shadow behind those petals just a little bit, push those petals back. Actually, I think I got that one wrong. Burnt umber. And put a little separation there between those petals. So going back over some of that white with the yellow here. Much better. Now we can kind of see the different individual petals there. You don't have to do that if it doesn't bother you. It just about, I just felt like it needed it. You don't want to, overdo it and end up with outlines, but you can kind of nudge it towards where you want it to be. And we've already kind of shadowed this area, but I'm going back in and kind of adding a little bit more of this highlights along these. Okay. Little white highlights. Got a little bit of the yellow in here with it. This one I want the highlight to be on that side. That curves, it's curving under. So the underside's a little bit darker. Top side's catching that light. color in the center there. Coming out. How you doing, hon? Mark's being quiet now. He's in protest.
I'm doing super duper.
He's protesting.
What am I protesting?
Me using your full name. It's like, fine. You know, I won't talk.
Yeah, okay. You're on your own there, sister.
No. We're a team. Okay. So you can see kind of what we're going for. These are pretty much done. These ones still need some work down here. So we're about halfway through these. Hopefully they go a little bit faster now that we've got a system in place here. Excuse me.
Got part of it.
What?
So I got part of it.
You cut out part of my coughing?
Yeah,
Thanks.
just part of it.
Yeah. Didn't give you much warning there. Kind of caught me off guard. Yeah, I was looking up. Don't ever look up, like, you know, breathing concrete dust or whatever. You know, the day that they were grinding everything and got dust all over everything, and I was breathing it in all day. Like, so you basically don't want to do that. That's pretty much what I got from my internet search. I was like, okay, well, hopefully I don't have issues from it. Probably not. I feel bad for the construction guys that do this day in and day out. That's all right. Getting some of the quinacridone gold here. Quinacridone burnt orange, I mean. Getting some burnt umber. See, I'm doing it again. I'm not using my two brushes, and so that brush is getting, the dark colors are getting muted by the white in my brush. That was a burp, sorry. I think that came out.
Just a cute little sound.
All right, getting some of that as quinacridone. No, this is the Indian yellow here. Indian yellow. Use that in here to kind of tone down the transition. Anywhere where it just feels like it's a little dry, I'm just using the glazing medium for it to go on a little smoother. Okay, let's get some of this cadmium yellow medium now. Add our highlights back in. going pretty well, I think. Not too shabby. A lot of times with these flowers that we've done before, we've kind of done one petal at a time, but because there's so many petals on this thing, it's just a little bit easier, I think, to take it a little bit more on the whole like this and kind of work our way around. Use the same color, that way we're not finishing one petal and then moving on to the next like we do with our roses and things like that. Because there's just these multiple flower ones, just multiple petal ones like this. Gotta go around. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna highlight right there. Make sure that I've got a good bright highlight right along that leading edge where it pops around. Let's do the same thing on this one. This one's getting a lot of white right here as it's coming down. Okay, and then as it gets in here, I'm going to get the more kind of golden yellow for in here. See that? And then get that cadmium yellow medium, a little brighter yellow. We'll kind of use this in the middle to transition these. Get some of that bright white here. This one's got a couple of little spots on it. Cadmium yellow light here. And really, it kind of depends on where your painting is at this point. You may not need these highlights. You may have left enough of them, you know, when you went around the first time and you don't need as many. So these are kind of final details here. So you're going to have to just kind of decide on yours as you're going around, whether you need these or not. You may not need it. You may be happy with where yours is at already. So just kind of, I find that it helps if I take a step back every now and then, go get a drink, step away from the painting, and then look at it with fresh eyes. You know, after a little bit of time, and you can usually see things that you still want to work on. It's a lot harder to do it all in one setting like we do on these shows. I miss things because it's just natural to kind of get caught up in a painting as you're working on it. It's not easy to kind of be able to see all the things you want to change right in the moment. But we don't have that luxury. But sometimes, like, I'll work on this part of it, let it set, and then, you know, come back to it, and then I'll see something that I didn't see before when I was working on it the first time. So, you know.
Are you talking about me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I see things I didn't get right the first time. We just keep working on it.
Step back.
We'll get there. Yeah, step back. Just keep on working at it. How many years? 31 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's over 31.
Getting some white here. And that bright white right there. Being
More gray hair.
a few more pounds. It's all right. Oh, I like it. I love when it gets to this point where it starts to finally kind of look, you know, closer to where finished. It's a good feeling. Okay. Now I'm working on these ones here. Adding more of that bright white yellow color. This one's in the shadows, so it's not as bright. But there is a little bit of this lighter color, and I need to soften up that green a little bit. So I'm just going to take some of this glazing liquid and use this yellow on my brush and just kind of go back over that green just a little bit to tone it down slightly. Same thing here. Cover it up some completely, but I'm just toning it down with a little bit of this green. Or some of this yellow over the top of the green, I mean. Okay, using the white yellow mixture. All right. Okay, and then where we've got these two meeting, I'm going to grab some of this darker.
We get a good question.
Mm-hmm.
They would like to know, how do you blend colors so easily?
How do I blend colors so easily? Well, I think the key is to work quickly, partly. While they're still wet, you're going to have a little bit more blending time. And lay down a fairly thick amount of paint, not too much. So it's kind of a subtle dance between just enough water, just enough paint, and just enough, speed to, it just makes practice. The more you practice with it, the more comfortable you get with working with acrylics and kind of knowing the feel of them on the brush and knowing how close they are to drying, when you need to back off and just let them dry, and when you still have a little bit of time to work with them. But let's blend some white in with the yellow, and I'll show you what. So
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Wow, Alexa, she thought I was talking to her. Let me turn that off. That was funny. Okay, so getting some, and this has water kind of mixed in, so a little bit of watered down white here. We'll blend this one a little bit. So I'm going to put on my color fairly thickly where I want it to be the brightest. So I always kind of start in the part where I want it brightest. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off and quickly pick up, or use another brush, whatever you want to do. Quickly pick up the color that I want to blend it into. In this case, we're going to kind of use this color that was already there. And I'm going to pull in the opposite direction. I'm going to set it down where I want it to the darkest, and then pull it lightly over the top. And I'm barely pressing down here. And I'm just kind of letting those two touch. And where they touch, I'm just kind of lightly over the top. And then I can pull that color off, and they're still wet, so I'm going to add a third color here. I'm going to grab some of my yellow, and I'm going to use that kind of over the top of that middle part too, and just kind of use that in there. And then if I got too much of that in there, I can get a little bit of my darker color again, really dark. Just go right in there. All these colors are still wet, so I still have some time. Wipe my brush off. Once I put the color down, wipe my brush off, because I don't want a lot of that color on there. I'm picking up a little glazing liquid this time. And I'm just going to tap around those edges of where I just put that color in. So those are kind of 3 different ways of, doing it, but you can see, how quickly we need to work. And then I'm going to get that lighter color again and just go back over again one more time. And then this time, since the color underneath is wet, it's going to blend in a little bit. It's going to kind of soak into what we've got happening there, and it won't be so stark as it was when we first put it down. Okay. That help, hopefully. Hopefully. Okay.
It didn't hurt.
So bright color along the edge here. And I may not, have to blend it out every time. Sometimes I'll just kind of let the color set and we'll come back through and do it dry. But, if I have time and I want to, I can. So this time I'm pretty happy with the dark area. I'm just going to get a little bit of the yellow and just kind of come in with the yellow and sort of tap out some of those edges that are really bright. And I think I want a little bit of the yellow in this one too. See that? Let's use a little bit of yellow on here. I'll get some white here, mix it in with my yellow. Go along that edge. Got a lot of paint on my brush. Laying down a fairly thick amount of paint onto the canvas. Not super thick, but it's got kind of a raised edge along one side, and I'm just going to come along that one side there. And just going to tap it out. And if it's too dry, I can add a little bit of glazing liquid to smooth it out to help it blend out. But it's doing okay. So there's different, there's just different techniques. Now I'm kind of using the yellow. I'm not using the dark color. I can grab some of that darker color and kind of come back in with it in the opposite direction.
Have you revealed what the background color is going to be yet?
I haven't. I'm thinking black because that's what we've done for the recent ones. So I'm thinking I might do black just to kind of go continuity wise, because we've got the. I'm trying to remember. Well, we did the calla lily, and then the Oriental Poppy is the same size canvas. So all 3 of them would be the same size canvas. The other 2 have the black background. So I think I'm just going to do them so they're kind of a set. Okay. Oh, I like it. It's turned out good. Sorry, I'm whispering. I got a lot of complaints about the lighthouse video whispering. So I must have... Huh? Yeah, I must have been whispering a lot. I can't help it. I know it's a problem. I try. I do the best I can. But it's just part of the... When I get going, I just get really zenned out, and my voice gets softer. And
It's difficult to talk for nearly 5 hours while painting, so...
True, Dad.
It's understandable.
Well...
You have a full pass.
I still get complaints, so I try. All I can say is I do my best.
You know what they say. You can't please all the people all the time.
True. True.
And it was free.
Exactly.
So
That's what I don't. Yeah.
if you're
Okay. I'm not going to
complaining-
go there. I'm just, yeah.
I'll go there if you're complaining on a free video. Okay.
I know. We try to put out the best stuff we can, but,
Somebody would like to know, is glazing liquid and matte medium the same?
No. They are made of the same material, basically. They're both acrylic polymer, so they just have different properties. So the glazing liquid is thinner, and the one that I use has an extender in it that you don't. A lot of acrylic extenders will have. You can only use like 30% into your paint, so you have to have a certain ratio in order to not thin down your paint too much, or make it too slick to stick to your canvas. With the kind that I use, the golden glazing liquid, and it's the only glazing liquid that I know of that does not that has the extender in it. It leaves a little bit less. You don't have to worry at all about a percentage, so I can use as much as this I want. I can put it on straight on the canvas if I want, and not worry about it sticking. And then with matte medium is basically the same thing. It's a little bit thicker though, and it also it'll thin your paint the same way pretty much. It'll thin it definitely from a heavy body acrylic. If you're using heavy body acrylics, it will definitely thin your paint. But the one thing that I don't like about matte medium, and the reason I don't use it, is because it has mattifiers in it. Basically, they're particles that will flatten the color of your paints. That matte, the sheen has to do with the sheen. And to get it to be no sheen, it actually interrupts the light coming through with particles. That's how they're doing it. And so that matte affects the colors of your paint, and that's why I don't use it. So the one that I use at least satin or gloss, because those will brighten the colors of your paint. They'll be much more true colors, and they'll be shinier. And you can always use a matte medium or matte varnish at the end. Again, it will dull your colors a little bit. If you like that look, definitely, go for it. But just know that, it's not going to be like, and it's probably not that big of an issue. If you're just using a little bit of it here and there, it's not going to completely ruin your painting. But I'm just saying that's why I don't use it, because I don't want to dull my colors. So, but they are basically the same thing. They just have different properties, and they all have different additives and just a little bit different, but they're all basically acrylic polymer. That's the base. It's basically paint without pigment. It's what acrylic paints are made out of. And then they take that base and they add the pigment to it, and they, create the paint. But, so it's just the base without the paint color added in, is all those are. Basically all of your gel mediums, anything that says 100% acrylic polymer dispersion, that's, we got airbrush medium, 100% acrylic polymer dispersion. Let me see if I can find my matte medium. Matte medium is 100% acrylic medium. Heavy gel, 100% acrylic polymer dispersion. So, they're all exactly the same base. They're just different. Different properties. Thicker, thinner, slowing dry time, that kind of thing. Helping flow. What are you looking for? Ooh, fishy. Nice. Thank you. Now I can't talk though. You're playing me with gummy fish. You're trying to
Fish.
talk me into finishing up here. Mark went for reinforcements. He was wasting away over there.
I'm not sure if Mona is familiar with Swedish fish, even though she's in Sweden.
I don't know. Yeah, that's true. That's weird. Do you have Swedish fish and is that where they came from, Mona?
Probably, no, she does not.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I like the candy. Basically like a gummy worm in fish form.
Better.
I don't usually like them because they're usually super chewy, but these ones are pretty soft.
Mm. Give me
Okay.
Cashmere in my seat.
Cashmere came in and took Mark's seat while he was out getting gummies. I have to say she's been a trooper through all the renovations. She's just kind of taken it in stride. The first few days she just hid in my bedroom. But then she decided the bad men were not going to hurt her, you know. And so now she's just supervising everybody. She just sits out in the middle of the floor and watches them. It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Cashmere's the cat, by the way. If you don't think we mentioned that. Like, who is Cashmere? Why do we care about this? All right, we're getting close. So I'm just going through here. That was the Quinacridone Gold. Yeah, I need to be telling what colors I'm using here. Sorry. Stop talking about the cat. So using the yellow and white here. Just trying to get a really bright highlight right on the top of that. One, I kind of blended it all out to show you how to blend, but I really didn't need it blended that much as I did. Again, I'm gonna really add some bright highlights to some of these. It's amazing how much just the white, it looks bright going on, but then it once it dries, it kind of really darkens quite a lot. So you may need several coats of your highlight color to get it to show up. And get some of that yellow, and then this is a petal that's right here, breaking that up. This is the petal here. It's looking good. I like it. It's coming together. Getting some of the Indian yellow here. Cashmere's all up in Mark's business now.
Mm-hmm.
She's all up in his business. Getting in the way. She's decided it's time for you to pay attention to her, so just stop with the painting stuff. Time to pay attention to the cat. Getting some of that white color here. Getting some of the gold. Separating out those petals. Okay. We're almost done with the petals here. Oh. You got cashmere cam going on. Cashmere. Cashmere. What are you doing? What are you doing? He's rubbing on the table. Fascinating. Oh, he's rubbing on the camera now. Nice. Cat cam. That'll be our cat cam. That's what we'll call it. Love it. Don't get that on other shows, that's for sure. You're like, and thank you very much. But didn't know I wanted that, but you're welcome.
If we ever have another cat, we're gonna have to name it Kitty Purry.
Why?
I thought it was quite funny.
Kitty Purry?
Mm-hmm.
What? Kitty, like Kitty Perry? Katy Perry?
See, now you got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No?
Why would we do that?
No? Okay.
Why would we do that? Are you a secret Katy Perry fan that I don't know about, honey?
No, I just thought it was a fun play on words, but apparently not.
You got something to tell me?
Well, since you know all the guys,
Mm-hmm.
all the male stars.
I do not. I didn't know. I just knew it wasn't The Rock. That's all I'm saying. My viewers knew who Aquaman was. And they also knew it was not The Rock, too.
Sure. Right now.
All right, I'm going pure white here. Yeah. I'm not going back to that conversation. I want to, though. Oh, she got so mad at me the other day because Oliver came in and he hadn't eaten yet. She'd already eaten. And she wanted his can of food. And he started eating and she started pushing him out. And I grabbed her and, pushed her away. And she went straight over to her little claw thing. And she was just like, claw, 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 claw. I am so mad at you, Mommy. You're so mean. She was just like percussion clawing. Like, you are so mean to me. I want my food. My food. She's so funny. Such a little diva. Diva kitty. All right, so just adding a little white. It will not stay white. It will tone down, and if it doesn't, we'll glaze over it. But I think it's going to just tone down and kind of disappear into that yellow. It's just adding, and you really want to be careful where you're adding these, super bright highlights. So just kind of don't do them everywhere. Otherwise, you're just going to end up losing all of your depth. They will, because this is where your eye is going to go to. So if you put them on everything, your eye's not going to know kind of where to focus. So we're just going to kind of put them on just a few of these Do we really want to pop out? And oh, it's so pretty. Love it. Let's work on that center and we'll be done. Do the background and all right, so getting that green, getting some white, getting some yellow with it, cadmium medium. Gonna get lots of white, lots of yellow, just a little bit of green. There we go. Nice bright green, and I'm gonna use a smaller brush here. The 2-aught one. I didn't use any of the. These would be for if we were going to stipple, so we're not using those at all. All right, so I'm going to create some little. Still not enough yellow in it. Okay. I'm going to pick a line here and just kind of tap in over the top of some of these to kind of add some of that green. Let's add a little bit of the, ooh, that turns it purple. No, don't want that. There we go. We'll add the quinacridone gold to it. It's gonna tone it down a little bit. There we go. So phthalo green, quinacridone gold, and quinacridone nickel Azo gold. It's a long name. I need more of it. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of tap over the top of the rows that I've already done. Just a little bit, adding some of this green over the top. Trying to keep them kind of pointy because they've got these little dagger pointer things. So going over where I've already done and just adding a little bit of green spike to the tip of some of these. And I'm only going about halfway out, and then they start to turn orange. So about halfway here, I'm just going to stop with these and do another. And on this side, they're a little bit brighter, so I'm going to use a little bit more of the white mixed in. Okay, doing good, I think. Getting there. Thanks. Alrighty. I'm going to use some of this Indian yellow with white. And I'm going to do little hooks. There's these flowers that are blooming are kind of hooked. So I'm just going to do little lines here, and I've got a lot of paint on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of tap it and create some random randomness here. Probably a little bit light for my first layer, so I may want to go back in with some of this quinacridone gold. But it's kind of a hodgepodge of little lines going in every which way. So just dabbing, and leave your little deep pockets. Don't go over all of those. Right, then these are still dry, are still wet. My brush is down here so they don't dry. This is dry from before, so I'm going to use the burnt orange, I think. Quinacridone burnt orange, and just on the tip of my brush here, a little bit of glazing liquid. And I'm going to go over the edges of this, darken that up right along that outside border. And just kind of pull it in towards the center a little bit. And then I'm going to use a little bit of it right here. There's like a little shadow right there. I'll just wipe my brush off and tap it out. There's a shadow right there. See how that pushes that forward? Just putting that shadow right there. Now that little green tip is pointing out a little bit more now. I'm going to go back in and just tap that in and just a little bit brighter again. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and use this brush. Use the Cadmium Yellow light here. I'm gonna just mix a couple of these different yellows together to get a kind of a medium yellow. And I'm gonna run my tip of my brush back and forth. It's kind of going a little thick, so I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush here. Okay. Get some white and get some of that quinacridone gold with the white. I'm going to start using this quinacridone gold, so just to warn you, because I really like it. I'm like, why has this not been in my life before? I love this color. So it's just a beautiful color. I don't have another color that's quite like it, so I'm gonna start using it, I think. All right, I'm gonna go over the top of my background here with this color. Add a little bit of white to it. And I'm gonna tap in these kind of fluffy things that are happening. Make sure you're not covering every little bit of your dark areas, but we want to overlap kind of those flower petals that are in front or, you know, back behind. So make sure that this is kind of pushes those back a little bit. See what we're doing.
Very optical illusion-y.
I know.
That is really cool.
Very cool.
It is amazing how that's just a flat canvas. And,
I know. Yeah.
And it's got that look to it for sure. So that's. I think you know what you're doing.
Thanks, hon.
You should teach this stuff.
I should teach it? Okay. I love getting, seeing the reaction of people's faces, especially these young guys that are doing the construction. You know, when I tell them that I'm a YouTube channel, because it's like it's such a young person's game, YouTube. Like, you have a YouTube channel. It's like, yeah, I do. It's just funny. Cracks me up every time.
I mean, we're not skydiving and you know, doing all kind of wacky things.
No.
You know, we're just kind of low keyed.
Yeah. But we do have a YouTube channel. That's an instant cool card with the young folks. I found. If you have a YouTube channel, especially successful, I should say, it has to have decent, you know, success, because, you know.
Everybody has a YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah. If it's.
I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I have like 30 subs.
There you go. See?
Let me see. Hold on. I'll check. Maybe I'll phone up.
You might have more. No?
Yeah. Maybe I can get some sponsors to give away stuff for the 100 sub.
Your 100 sub level?
Yeah.
Okay. You never know.
It could happen. Ooh,
I love your voice when you say that.
87 subscribers.
What?
So.
I think you've got a head start on me. I didn't have any when I started, so.
Coca-Cola, Swedish fish makers. I need some stuff for free giveaways.
Okay.
Hit the 100 sub mark.
All right, so I'm noticing one thing, that this is like way too yellow. So what I'm going to do is just let that dry a minute. And then we're going to glaze over it and we'll be done. But let's go ahead and do our background first. While we're waiting, I guess I'll just use this brush since there's so many little spots in there. I'm using carbon black. You can use whatever color you want to use. Like I said, I'm just using it because we did the black in the background of our other flowers recently for our series, so it seems like it's been working pretty good for us. We'll just let that center of our flower dry while we're doing this. What are you saying, hon?
I had to zoom out there so they could see painting the
Oh, you
plant.
couldn't see what I was
So
doing.
this
This is going to really make it come to life, I'm telling you.
This is my favorite part of the video. So first of all, you don't have to do the background black.
No.
If you don't want to. Again,
Right.
make it your painting.
Exactly.
2.
I just said that, but okay. Literally. Okay. Yes.
2, this is the best part because people start stressing out. Like, oh my gosh, she's going to paint over a petal and ruin it.
No, this is actually nice because you can clean up your petals this way. If you've got, one that you kind of... I like to do this last because Then you don't have to worry about it when you're painting in your petals. You can be a little sloppier. But you can also get a softer edge. So this kind of creates a very hard edge. So if you want a little softer edge to your petals, then what you need to do after you do this is go back in and just kind of touch up a little bit of the yellow around the edges of the flowers and just kind of like soften up, add a little bit of, softer. Mark's laughing at my. Mm-hmm.
How did you know?
I could hear you laughing over there. I knew you were laughing at me.
I think it was so cute.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so it'll give it a little softer look. This will be a little bit more, hard edged. So if you want it just a little softer, and I probably would do that if you have time to. I don't, but just do one more layer just around the outside of the flower, maybe with the light yellow color. Doesn't have to be on all the petals, but just a few of them, just to kind of soften up that edge. Let's see. Right there. So that it looks a little bit, I don't know. I like the look of it better. I switched to fluid acrylic and it'll make it go on a little bit smoother too, a little bit faster. So heavy body acrylics are a little bit thicker. They just make it a little bit harder to get in here and to paint it fast. It'll paint faster with this, go on smoother. What?
Just gonna do some fill music.
Yeah. I know. I'm gonna get a couple good scoops here and just kind of scoop it out and push it around, smooth it out. I was given my. I'm sure they hate me by now. They're so. Whenever they're painting, I'm like in there, like, okay, smooth that out, please. I was telling them how to paint yesterday, because they're just young guys. They don't know. They don't have like a professional painter on the crew anymore because I got him fired. So I think they're all scared of me. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. But they're in there painting our kitchen, and I'm like, you need to smooth that out as you go. Otherwise, you're going to leave lines. And they're all like looking at me like, really, lady? Don't you have somewhere else to be? I'm like,
So what's, that's your 3/8 inch angle brush.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit big for some of these little spots there, but it's doing the job. This is, it's going to look so nice on this black canvas. Look how pretty it is. It's like really making it pop. Yeah, it was going from okay to wow. Wow, wow, wow. So pretty. So Mark enjoys this part, not because it makes the painting look amazing. He likes it because it makes the audience cringe. Yeah.
Everybody gets so stressed.
I know.
Look away.
Mm-hmm. Always go back in and add more yellow. It doesn't. Yeah, I definitely can't get in there, though. I'm not going to try to get in there with it to come back to that.
So somebody says it's amazing how you have such a calm stroke.
Oh.
Does it make difference to you to paint on a flat surface or an easel?
Yeah, I used to paint on an easel, for bigger canvases. I think the main thing is, and when I would paint with an easel too, I would do this, is just to turn the canvas. You see how I'm turning it? So I would do that even when it's on an easel. I would turn it around so that it's just easier to get into these tight spots when you can angle your brush in this way instead of this way. So like trying to get in this side like this on and literally when I would paint murals, I would literally contort my body upside down. Basically, you'd see me and I'd be like pressed up against the wall like this, so that I could get that right angle. It just makes it so much easier to paint that way. So no, I don't think that it's really the angle this way as much as it is, just being able to turn the canvas. It's really important. Plus, you can see what you're doing. When you're over here, your hand's blocking what you're doing, so you can't really see what you're doing. So when you've got it over here, you can keep, you can keep it so that you can see where you're at. Okay. Is anybody still watching this? Because we're
Yes.
literally watching paint dry here. Sorry.
Yes, you got 221.
Ooh. Thank you, guys. Yeah, all sweet.
Somebody wants to know, can you paint a futuristic iguana?
Futuristic iguana?
Well, or
what?
maybe it was paint an iguana in the future.
Oh, God.
So, depending on how you read it, I guess.
Oh, my gosh. That was funny, honey. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. Panicked.
Now you're envisioning a futuristic iguana, aren't you?
All I'm seeing is like an iguana and like a little space astronaut's helmet.
Nice. You should do it.
I know. It's cute. You can see it, can't you? Possibly, yeah. I like lizards. Never really thought of. I haven't seen any pictures that have been like, yeah, I gotta paint that. So, I pretty much got my paintings set. I'm looking now through Christmas, so I've got pretty much most of my fall lineup done. We just came out with our September schedule. I'm gonna do, fingers crossed, you guys don't hurt me. But I am gonna do a skull with a rose for Halloween this year. I know some people are gonna be like, what? But it's probably gonna be like the tank, and we'll get 3 views on it because it's different. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun. I found a really cool picture of a skull with a rose. So we're gonna do that for Halloween. We're gonna do a cat, I think. And yeah, so I try to pick, not that I have anything against iguanas per se, or, but certain things just do better, just in general. There's more people that want to see them. So I tend to kind of stick with the things that are gonna reach more folks. Sea tank as an example, because when I try to kind of break out and do something different, then nobody watches it. So it's a lot of effort and not a whole lot of reward. Yeah. So I know we've got a ton of people, that have all kinds of different opinions of what they want to see, and we try to just kind of get as much out there as we can that pleases the most folks that we can, because we've only got a limited number of videos we can do every year. So, that's the main considerations a lot of times for, if I've got between two things. I usually let my group vote. I have groups that on Facebook that vote. Sorry, I'm just doing this so I don't get anything on it as I'm coming around the corner here to do the final layer. So what I'll probably do is just, find a picture of an iguana or, something like that. If I find one that I really think, I would want to paint that, then I'll post it in a poll, and then let the audience decide. So that's what I usually do on stuff that I'm not sure, that's kind of a little bit different. Although they didn't get to decide on the tank. I did that on my own, so I can't blame them for that. That was from Arky for our anniversary.
So many people have
That was
asked.
a long reply to the iguana question, but that's kind of what I usually do for something that's a little bit different that, not necessarily going to be super popular. But if I get enough people that are interested in it, I will do it.
So many people have asked why you didn't paint the background black first, and I'm going to say because the black would have bled through too much into the flower.
Yes.
Too difficult to paint over.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I think I did that way when I did the Kayla Lily. I think I started with the black background. So it depends on the tone of the flower too, because that flower was purple and had, some white in it, but it was mostly black purple tones and green. I knew it would cover pretty well over the top of that black, but yellow is one of those colors that does not do really well layering. It doesn't. You saw how hard it was to get that white to show up against a already yellow background. Just that little bit of darkness. So it would have just taken a lot more layers to get that yellow to cover the black. Yeah, so that's exactly why. You've been watching. You've been paying attention.
Sometimes I listen. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah, I did get a suggestion the other day that I think is a really good idea, and I probably am going to do it at some point. And she just asked...
To rub your husband's feet?
No, not that.
Sorry.
Clip your toenails?
Sorry. So anyways.
To do a video about color mixing. So I've done one for the Patreon folks. We did that last year in my Patreon $10 level group, but I have never done one on YouTube. I did a color chart mixing one, but I haven't ever done like just a general one on that. So I might do that sometime, because I thought that was a good idea. It's kind of a basic thing that's probably a good idea just to dedicate a whole video to it. Kind of how to use a color wheel and how to choose your colors and how to mix them. Kind of basic info. I went over that petal a little bit there. I looked away. You're done. Look at how much more that. Wow. That is so pretty against that black. I was thinking about doing green, but I'm glad I didn't. I think I love this. I love this. It's beautiful. Okay, and then I just kind of smooth out the little boogers that happen when you're, paint your thing on here. You don't want any thick areas because they'll just dry thick. Okay, nope, that's right there. We came right back to center. Okay, I'll do the sides later. I'm not going to do it right now. And then let's glaze this with that gold aqua, or let's see, what color do we want to use? Yeah, let's use that quinacridone gold. I think that'll be the best I'm going to just use this color since that brush has got black in it. There's the gold right there. Let me grab a little bit of it and grab some glazing liquid. Mix that in. Add a little bit of water because it's starting to get thick. Even my glazing liquid is starting to dry. And I'm just going to go right over the top of those. You can see difference there. Changing that tone to that more golden color. And I can use that, just kind of go over the edges of the, it's not going to hurt the dark areas really because it's transparent, so it's not going to, it'll tint it a little bit, but it's not going to change the value too much, you know, it's not going to lighten it. So you can go over the top of the dark areas too and kind of also tint your petals just a little bit as they overlap right there too. I feel like I'm going to do this. I'm going to use a little bit of this Cadmium Red Light. I feel like it just needs a little bit of punch of even brighter color. Now, I have to be really careful because the Cadmium Red Light is an opaque color as opposed to the Quinacridone that we just used. It's not opaque. It's a transparent color. So I definitely need to use a lot of glazing liquid if I want to do this. But I think it'll give it a little bit of more of an orange tone. Yeah. Yeah, just need a little orange. And I could have used probably cadmium orange too. But yeah, that's better. Just need a little bit of orange. We're pretty close to our original there if you look at them. I like to kind of look there at the end and see. I think that we could use a little bit of shadowing, like right along in here. So let's grab a little bit of the burnt umber. And, well, I guess I don't have any of that glazing liquid left out, so I'm just going to grab a little bit that was in that cadmium, or the cadmium medium, and just come along this back side of this. And you see, I'm just barely tapping it in here, just darkening up that one side of it. Try not to get it too much on the petals. There we go. And then I can wipe that off, and then I can kind of pull it out, tap it out a little bit. That's good. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Oops, I got a little glazing medium there. Let's sign it, and we'll be done. I'll use a little bit of the cadmium. We'll use the Diarylide Yellow here, some white, and I'm using the 20-aught, or 2-aught, I should say. Sorry, 20-aught.
Be super small.
No. Super chat. What?
I have to show the disco lights on the side cam because
Oh God.
it's blocking everything. So yeah, we got super chat. We got one super chat right off the bat
Nice.
from Meta Mandala.
Oh,
There was
sweet.
no special message, but thank you so much.
Very sweet. Thank you.
We really need to get that disco ball. Where'd it go? There it is.
Turn it off. Please turn it off. There we go. We kind of tucked it in there between the petals. That's perfect. All right.
I can have no fun over here.
Yep.
Man.
And I don't mind the little green. I think that's, and we didn't need a big leaf. It's actually kind of cute, and it kind of tones down the, it kind of balances out. We got a little bit of green here, a little bit of green here, and a little bit of green there. So it's kind of Yeah.
Oh, somebody
it
wants to
works.
know, how do you get to write your name so perfectly without the paint sticking?
You have to add water to your paint, to your brush, your paint. So I used quite a lot of water in there, and yeah, and then I use a very small brush and with a fairly short bristles, and choke really high up on it so that I'm just like I'm writing with a pen, and just do it as quickly as I can, but keep my brush really close upright so that I'm just barely touching the tip of it, and so that it doesn't. If you have your angle too low like this and you try to assign it like this, it's gonna push, and when you push on this brush, it's gonna do like, it's gonna flip out on you. So you've got to hold it real straight up and down to your canvas, right up over it, and just barely be touching the tip of it in there, and then you can write with it. But you got to get the right angle there. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for watching today. We so appreciate you. Thank you for our super chatters, and thank you to those who have supported us and got us to our 200,000 subscribers this year. If you would share this channel, or share the videos, your favorite videos, like them. If you want to get notifications via email of our new videos, you can click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button, and that will send you an email notification of our new videos, because sometimes YouTube decides that you don't want to watch us anymore, even when you do, just because of their algorithm. If you end up watching like a full week of shark videos for Shark Week, and then come back to want to watch some of your normal art channels, it may just decide to suggest shark videos for the rest of the month. So that happens. It's kind of an algorithm thing. So if you want to kind of bypass that and just say, yeah, I definitely want to hear from this artist, I want to see her new stuff, then clicking that little bell icon will just make sure that you get notifications. I'm going to go through one more time. We said we were done, but I'm noticing that we kind of lost our little highlights, so I'm just very, very, very few of these. Go with this angle brush here, and I'm just going to tap in some little...
Yeah, they said that it looks super real.
Oh, good.
Like it's laying on a black table.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks great.
Well, speaking of that, we're going to be doing our bonus video this month is going to be an orchid sitting with some rocks. So that's, I'm really excited about that.
So this month as in September next month?
Yes, next month, sorry.
Okay. And we're back to our regular schedule starting Tuesday. We'll be back Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time with some kind of a painting, I'm sure. Not a tank. I know that for sure. It'll probably be a flower or a bird or something.
We're doing a horse.
I was close.
Yep, doing a horse. It'll be fun, I think. So... yeah, it'll be a really simple one, too. It's just a silhouette of a horse.
Okay.
I'm going to do kind of some foggy, cloudy background and a little silhouette of a horse. So it'll be a really easy one. And then on following Saturday, next Saturday, we're going to be early. So we're going to be at a 10 a.m. time just for that 1 week, because we've got a party to go to, my parents' 50th anniversary. So we got to hit the road after our video. So we're going to be painting a rustic boat for that one. And hopefully we'll go fast. I don't know. So... all right. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Wow, 3.5 hours. There we go. Yeah, if you want the traceable for this, or you want to join us for any of the bonus video content, you can check that out on Patreon, patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.